Right, so I'm going to show you how to make a relatively simple trap trigger, similar to a figure 4, similar to like a Siberian, Deadfall, similar to lots of other ones, but it's kind of like a cross between, I suppose. So I've got one stick, and all you've really got to do is just get a stick which is long enough that if you cut it in half, or say one section is the height you want it, if that makes sense, and then you'd cut it in half, cut a couple of bits. So you'd actually want to go a little bit longer than what you want it. So if you wanted it that high off the ground, you want to go just a little bit longer, if that makes sense. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bit here off, because I don't want this knobbly bit. It's not too hard to work with, but it's harder to work with, and I want a bit which is relatively equal, you know, not a great big fat bit. So we want our trigger to be about this long, so we're going to cut it a bit longer, because two bits are going to overlap. Actually, we'll go a bit shorter, so I want a bit here left to still use. So we'll save there. Right, so that's what we got. Right, so now I'm going to cut this in half. Don't have to be exact. And I'm going to clean these up a bit. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut, so we want, it's going to overlap a bit when it's done, so you could mark it there and there, and then you know where you're going to do your cuts, and cut that halfway through, or about halfway through. And if you make sure you've got no knots and side branches on this part, it should be a bit easier. So bits like that, you don't want to do it where that is. And we want two bits to sit like that. I need to cut one of these slightly shorter, so I'm just neatening up this end a bit. Just make sure that end's nice and smooth. So that's what we've got so far. Two bits like that. Now the next thing we want to do on one of these, doesn't matter which one, we're going to want to cut a slight notch in the end of one of them. So this one, say here, not a notch, I'll show you. We're going to do like a, we're going to do the same thing again basically. We're going to cut a bit out. Maybe go about halfway, and we're going to get that bit out of there. So now we've got that, and when it fits together you've got a bit of a hole there, square hole, and that's what you want. Now you could set this up quite easily where one is shorter than the other. What it'll do is it'll make your trigger lower down. You could do it in the middle. You wouldn't want it near the top really, I wouldn't have thought. If anywhere, have one shorter than the other. It could be in the middle, it doesn't really matter. Now we want to use this bit to make our trigger stick from. Now, not the best piece, but it should just about do it. Now this wood, what I'm using is from an ash tree. It's green, as in not seasoned, so it's really easy to work with. Now if possible, we want to split this down the middle. You could shave it if you didn't want to. If you don't want to risk your knife. You don't need this piece of wood to be massive. Smaller the better. This is the thing with knots. You've got a knot there, a branch. It makes it a little bit harder to get through. Not impossible, but you want everything to be easy in a survival situation. So if you could get a nice straight bit of wood with no knots, then go for it. I'm just cutting this knot off the end. You don't need it. Right. So we want to shave this right down. So basically, it's going to fit in there. Have it squared off as well. That's what we want, it to fit in there. You could cut a couple of notches in here if you wanted to, for tying bait on or whatever. I always find it good to have a knife with a saw on. A penknife with a saw will make most trap triggers. Even splitting wood. And then that's basically your trap trigger done. And it's going to sit like this with this one in between. We'll go outside and we'll set it in a minute. But that's basically it.